I'm Aaron Millar with Millar Legal. Excited to introduce a new opportunity, a new way of supporting our clients here at Millar Legal. Whether you are going through a business dispute, a civil litigation matter, or a family law matter like divorce, custody, in each case, you're going through a really difficult time, and we're here to help you from a legal standpoint to take care of what's happening in the courtroom or in mediation. We want to support you better. And as a result of that desire that we have, we are bringing in a life coach to help each of you through this process to be better grounded and more able to meet not just the legal demands that you have for this short period of time, but to be in a better place for the rest of your life. So with that, I would like to introduce Wendy Johnson and give you a chance to share a little bit about who you are and how you came to be a life coach and what you offer to our clients.
Thanks, Aaron, for that. And so my name's Wendy, and I absolutely adore coaching. I've been doing it for about 7 years now. And I like the quote that Rumi says, we're all just walking each other home. And this gives this perfect atmosphere for Aaron to do his work and for you to have some support in your own life. And so I love this combination idea, super drawn to it. In the past, I've coached people in high conflict resolution. And so this also gives me this moment to bring all the pieces together and help you find your way through this next transition. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I love it.
I love the way you said, bring all the pieces together, because you have so much experience. When we talk about the vision that I had in bringing life coaching to Millar Legal, I came up with 3 purposes, 3 goals that I would like to achieve for each of our clients. The way I worded the first one is to support the client in staying steady and clear-headed, especially during the major legal events. And those might be mediation or a hearing or a trial coming up, or maybe they're being deposed in a deposition setting. Wherever that setting is, it is a major legal event, and I want our clients to show up with intention and self-respect.
Right, and it's so difficult right then to stay steady. So that's why I think this is going to be perfect, that combination.
Excellent. The second purpose is to help the client begin healing so they can rebuild trust and confidence and healthy connections in every aspect of their lives, in every relationship that they show up in, that healing can begin. Because for each of our clients, they're dealing with a wound of some kind, and for each person, frankly, but especially clients in these difficult legal battles. So that was my hope, is that healing process could happen sooner.
And I love that, because when we're in this process, it feels like healing is not even on the menu. We're just in survival mode. So bringing that into one of the goals is like, wait, what if we shift out of survival and actually consider healing as part of this? So I love that. Yeah. It's great.
It's not just that it could be on their radar, but that in fact it could be possible now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The third purpose that I came up with is unique to my family law clients who are dealing with an ex or a soon-to-be ex. In the case of a divorce case that's pending, there are children that are involved often in many of these cases, and we want to help our clients to better communicate with their ex so that their children are free from living in this same world of conflict, right? That they can pass through this period that will be difficult for them, but they can avoid that in a way, and that can be achieved by the parent co-parenting in a more effective way that allows them to protect their peace through the process.
Yes, and I feel passionate about this. I personally feel like it's the one gift you can give your kids that really keeps on giving, and it's They don't need to be collateral damage. This can be actually a new way for the family structure to be in two places. And what if this was the new business and your co-CEO was your ex? Instead of him being your enemy, he's now your co-CEO. And how do we run a good business? What would that look like? And it's just that shift of no more animosity. What if we put all of it down for the kids? So I love that idea.
I love the way you focus on that reframing as well. Reframe the circumstance in a way that can be more healthy to support yourself in this process, right? And because people who you once viewed as your adversary ultimately need to be an ally in certain respects, right?
For sure.
And that will have an impact. As clients anticipate meeting with you, Wendy, what can a client expect from you in the first few sessions? Or how can they receive from you the help that they need to remain steady?
Well, I love what you just mentioned about, when we villainize our soon-to-be ex or whatever, that makes us the victim in that model. And the victim is always powerless. So one of the first steps we do is to stop villainizing the other person. In addition, people usually arrive in a lot of high emotion, pretty overwhelmed, unsure of what the crisis is. So we do a lot of sorting initially. What are the things that need to be dealt with? We put some structure around that, kind of get a game plan so that literally they have like marching orders and they're able to see what isn't a crisis. And, oh, now I see I'm kind of dysregulated. I'm going to bring it all back down. And so it's getting a game plan initially. And I love that when clients leave those first couple visits, they feel more clarity, they feel more ease, they feel more calmness around what's going on. And up to then, you've handled their legal amazingly, but they're unsure how to handle the home life. And so we get a plan about that and how to handle their emotions. So that's one of the first couple of things that we do. And it's fairly wonderful. And the client is like, wait, I might be able to do this. This could work out. And it changes the vibe. Instead of it seeming like the end of the world or the end of this chapter, it's literally the opening of a new one.
Yeah, and I like the way you describe that, the way you reframe those circumstances, because it is the opening of a new chapter. And new doesn't mean better or worse. It just means new. And so they get to define what that new chapter looks like. When we talk about these high conflict moments, and whether it's in a civil litigation matter where you have high intensity, high dollar, very complex legal matters, or whether it's a really high conflict family dynamic that has caused a lot of wounds, in either case, these clients are going to arrive at critical legal moments, legal events like mediation or like hearings. Maybe they will have their deposition taken. How will you help those people in business litigation or in family law disputes to show up for those important legal events in a more grounded way?
I love that question. So it's multifaceted. First of all, I want clients to realize that literally their nervous system is being hijacked. Many of us have not been in this high stakes of a situation almost ever in our lives. So I'll teach how to recognize when you're going into that fight or flight or freeze and you think, oh, that's not me. But some people can find themselves literally shutting down, can't find their words. Everything they practice goes right out the window. And then other people find themselves being more aggressive than they planned, saying things that they regret. So it's recognizing that your system is being hijacked, how to get more grounded. You talked about being steady. That's I love that word, just being steady, kind of in the storm. Another thing that we'll do is practice ahead. What would this look like? How will you say it? Maybe have a list of ways to say it and be able to, know what's coming. Another thing I love is the debriefing. Things go sideways sometimes. Of course they do. So we debrief after, figure out what went well, what will change next time, how do we get off course, and know that that's not a mistake. It's all supposed to be messy and perfect at the same time. So we don't expect just, smooth glass.
I think that pausing after one of these legal events to reflect on it will allow them to learn from it. And that learning will be a great blessing for our clients, not just in this legal setting, of course, but in all aspects of their lives.
Right.
So pause, reflect, learn. Another question I would like to ask you. Millar legal clients, again, whether they're going through a civil dispute or a family law matter, this is, as you noted, an extremely challenging time for them. Maybe it is taxing them more than they ever have been in their lives. So they're thinking not about healing, as we talked about before. They're just thinking, how do I keep my head above the water?
Yeah.
But how is it that you intend to help Millar legal clients to actually realize that healing is not only possible, but that it is something that they can begin that process now, during the legal turmoil?
Exactly. I think it's great done consecutively and just by learning the steps of it. Like the first step, I believe, is naming the loss. Maybe it's a sense of identity. Maybe they've lost what they thought their future was going to look like or what their business would look like. So first is naming the loss and then realizing grief is normal. And we make space for grief. We don't bypass it, but also it doesn't drive the show either. So it's kind of how to do all of this at once. And I believe that as healing comes in, then we get better in touch with ourselves again. We get back to that place of, I have some confidence, also some clarity around what I'm going to be doing. It's not all about this is how it'll be forever. This opens the chapter to a new chapter. And healing means I'm making space for that. And it's supposed to be, we're not going to make it look easy or anything like that. We're going to make room for all of the feelings. And that starts the healing as well. And normalizing all the things that are going on. Because when you step into this, when I originally was divorced, I had been married for 30 years. I had 6 children still at home, and I did not see a way through. I didn't know how to navigate it. And I didn't even think about healing. I told myself, I'll just get through this. And that's not what this is about anymore. We're learning from it. We're coming together and finding a way to co-parent in a brilliant way. I'm excellent at co-parenting ideas and all kinds of things, but the healing, I believe, is almost paramount. It's turning to this issue and saying, I got this. We're going to make it through this. Okay, so Aaron, I have a question. Tell me, how long have you been practicing law?
Actually, I've been practicing for more than 20 years.
And I'm just curious, why now are you deciding to bring in a life coach for your clients? What is behind that?
As long as I have been practicing law, I have noticed that in every case, there is this huge emotional burden that my clients are carrying. They meet with me, they talk with me, or a member of our team, and it helps because it allays some of their concerns about what's going on in the legal aspect of their lives. But that legal aspect of their lives is just one small part of what's going on. And so behind that legal struggle, they are trying to live their life with the stresses that are mounting, and they will show up in their legal case better if they have had some support, some coaching about the stresses that they're going through, about their perspectives that might be dragging them down. So rather than thinking, well, check the box, I hired my attorney seems really empathetic, great. Rather than that approach, think to themselves, wow, Millar Legal is helping me get additional support. That outside of that legal setting, I can try to reframe all of what's going on that will bless my life in a way that is much more than just during the finite time of this dispute, but is long-term healing and growth.
Oh, I
That's
love
the
that.
objective.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.